It is time for Four Downs, and we're going to venture a little bit outside of our usual realm, but for good reason. Four Downs brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas. I'm going to explain to you why it might be easier for Tennessee to win a national title today than it was, I don't know, mid-January 2020. What are we, 2023? What are we this year? Oh, yeah, 2023. Sorry, buddy. I get in the recruiting calendar, and
it's actually 2024.
No, but why they're better off than January 2023. Tennessee has a better chance to win a national championship at this particular time. They did this time last year. Totally bumbled that, but I'm going to explain it right now. It's Four Downs, brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas.
Four Downs brought to you by Dynasty Spas, the most comfortable spas made in the United States of America, right here in East Tennessee. Drop in for the all-new showroom in Athens. Dynasty Spas, perfect for all four seasons. Four Downs, presented by Off the Hook Sports.
Yeah, that's Dynasty Pools and Spas. Let's jump in the hot tub with the one and only Cooper Mays. Coop, what are we supposed to do?
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
Thanks, Coop. Down.
Coop here. First down.
Thank you. All right. So we have Ryan Day, who suddenly has, it seems, lost his play calling duties to Bill O'Brien. Ryan Day, the head coach at Ohio State. Bill O'Brien, longtime offensive coordinator, NFL coach at Penn State, and he's been around a lot. So I think this opens up the fact that they're having trouble at Ohio State. I think it opens it up for a lot of schools, Tennessee included. Ohio State, and when Ryan Day was hired, you thought they're going to have a ton of talent, and he was thought of as an offensive guru when he was hired, like one of the best young coaches in America. Big deal. They loved him. They gave him a huge contract when he was just an assistant. They were not going to let him get away from there. But now we look at Ryan Day a lot different. What is the SEC equivalent, that's first down, of Ryan Day?
Were they a guy who we thought was an offensive guru who turned out to not be?
It can be any direction you want to go. Just similarities, where he ranks. I mean, obviously, he's not as good as Kirby Smart. Then we start getting into debates about Brian Kelly, Sarkisian. Where would he rank? What's the SEC equivalent?
Oh,
it doesn't have to be an offensive coach. I'm just talking about competency overall. It could be a defensive coach like Mark Stoops if you want to.
I'm actually going to say a coach who got fired because it's another Urban Meyer protege, and it was Dan Mullen. Where I think both of them are good offensive minds, but there's just something about them that holds them back from like taking programs to the most elite level. And now, actually, another great one because Texas is joining the SEC. Tom Herman.
Yeah, I mean Tom Herman. That's an interesting comparison. Let me ask you this: how many coaches do you believe, as opposed to equivalent or comparison, talking comp? How many coaches do you believe are just flat out better in the SEC than Ryan Day?
Ooh, okay. And guys, I want to point this out. Ryan Day, I'm judging him against the job he's at. And Dave, you know this. Ohio State is borderline the LSU job, isn't it? You can fall out of bed and get top 3, top 5 recruiting classes at Ohio State.
A lot of similarities.
Yes. So it's like, again, Ed Orgeron could win a national title at Ohio State just like he did at LSU. And there's not many places he could do that at. So coaches that are clear-cut better. Well, Kirby Smart, very obviously better.
Yes.
I think Josh Heupel is very obviously better at this point. I think Brian Kelly is very obviously better at this point. I think that's 3 right.
See, I would take Sark pretty easily. I think there's still a debate for Heupel, but I would take Sark pretty easily.
Oh, I'd take Heupel over Sark and not even think about it. But I would probably take Sark over Ryan Day too. And I'd take Lane Kiffin over Ryan Day. I would take Lane Kiffin in a heartbeat over Ryan Day. Guys, Ohio State's a better job with more talent than Michigan. It is a tier above Michigan as a job. Ryan Day has no excuse to lose to Michigan 3 years in a row. None. And you know that area a little bit, Dave, right? Ohio, like Penn State and Michigan are good. shouldn't Ohio State be on a totally different level from them all the time?
You would certainly think so.
Yeah. So I think Ryan Day has massively underachieved. I picked them to win a national title this past year because of the talent. They didn't even get to the playoff. No,
Yeah.
it's Ryan Day.
Coop, remind me what down it is, and I'll remind everyone that Dynasty Pools and Spas right there in Athens. All spas include delivery, cover, steps, and chemicals. No extras to buy. When it comes to the chemicals, don't be fooled by big box stores, but they use fillers. The chemicals at Dynasty Pools and Spas are the best with a more active ingredient and formulated for your spa, no matter what brand you own. What down, Coop?
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
Oh, thank you, Coop. We certainly appreciate that. All right, so second down is this. Well, we just did that. Where would Ryan Day rank among SEC coaches? I got ahead of myself. What down is it now, Coop?
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
How would Josh Heupel do at Ohio State?
He'd have 3 Heisman winners in 4 years. And I'm thinking Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma when he had like Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts. Like, did you see the receivers that Ohio State had this past year?
Oh, not last year, but the year before. I was told by an NFL scout that they had 5 guys that could be first-round picks at some point in their career.
Could you imagine Josh Heupel with 5 first-rounders at receiver and C.J. Stroud at quarterback?
Pretty tough to beat.
I mean,
I know you said 3 Heismans in 4 years, and that's probably a little overstated. But I would say this: if he coached there 5 years, and let's say under the current system, let's move forward instead of look back. In a 12-team playoff, Josh Heupel was the head coach there tomorrow, and he's not going to Ohio State. We don't mean that, but yes, he would have a Heisman winner, and he would play in the national championship game 2 years, and he would win 1. That to me would be a baseline minimum.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And that's a minimum. Again, I can't stress how easy it is to win at Ohio State. And Josh Heupel there, with the talent they have in the state of Ohio, oh, man, that would be scary. And I think you're right. I think that Josh Heupel would set every record. I'll tell you this much. He would never lose to Michigan 3 years in a row. That would never happen with Josh Heupel at Ohio State.
No. And let's be honest. Jim Harbaugh is a better coach than Ryan Day, and it's not even in the ballpark.
Significantly. Yeah.
And
I didn't even say that.
We're talking high school, middle school. You remember the middle school coach when you were growing up, and he always wanted to be a high school coach, but he wasn't quite good enough. So he probably helped you recruit illegally for your high school, and he was the middle school coach. That was that guy. That's Ryan Day compared to Jim Harbaugh.
Absolutely. And by the way, I thought Jim Harbaugh may have never beaten Urban Meyer. I didn't think Urban Meyer was that much of a better coach than Jim Harbaugh. I just thought Ohio State was that much better of a job than Michigan. I think Michigan's a tough job. I don't think it's a top 10 job in America. Jim Harbaugh winning a national title there, that's dramatically overachieving what's possible at Michigan, quite honestly. And so, yeah, I think he's an amazing coach.
That's a good question for another day. Is Michigan a top 10 job? Okay. And this is what opens it up for Tennessee and several other schools to perhaps win a national title, because I think Caleb and I are going to agree on 4th down, Coop.
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. 4th down.
Will Ryan Day ever win a title, a national championship? I think we both agree that he won't. Safe?
No. We're safe at this point. And I'll let you go first.
Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what schools, if Ohio State can't win a national championship under Ryan Day, what schools benefit by that open opportunity as opposed to having Urban Meyer, who, yes, is a piece of trash, but he also is a great coach. I mean, Urban Meyer would still be winning at Ohio State. I don't care if he was in his own bar with 3 other chicks. He would still have the job, and he would still be winning at a high level. So what schools say, yay, Day? I'm happy for Day that he's at Ohio State.
Tennessee, because as you know, Dave, they have a pipeline into Cincinnati. As a matter of fact, I think the Bengals games are the local market team, aren't they, for the AFC over the Titans in Knoxville? Don't quote me on that, but when I lived there, it was for a little while.
I got to be honest with you. When NFL Sunday Ticket came along, it changed my life. I watched I watch the games I want to watch. I'm not sure what's on local television.
So a few: Tennessee, Penn State, Michigan. Those three are going to love it. Those three are going to love it. They can all go into Ohio and raid some talent. Michigan won it in 97 because John Cooper was at Michigan, an old Powell grad, Dave. And John Cooper lost out on a lot of talent.
got his PhD, Powell High diploma. He's an alum.
Yep. So here's the problem. Ryan Day's window is closing because and you know this, Dave, you covered it with Philip Fulmer. The minute the narrative is out on you, the program unravels because it becomes harder to recruit. Am I right? So
Yes.
The narrative's out on Ryan Day. Bill O'Brien, by the way, guys, Ryan Day was hired as an offensive genius, and now he's forced to give up offensive play calling duties to Bill O'Brien, who does not run the spread offense. Can we talk about how much of a clash this is? This is just as bad. This is worse than Bobby Petrino to Jimbo Fisher, honestly. Significantly so. This is not what Ryan Day wants. This is the Dave Clawson Philip Fulmer combination. It's opposite philosophies. So I got to be honest. This is a bad move. And I think Ohio State's going to unravel because of it. So you got Tennessee, Michigan, and Penn State are going to thrive because of it. Watch out for West Virginia, Virginia Tech, Kentucky, Louisville. Cincinnati is now a Power 5 school.
Yep. Well said. Obviously, a school you didn't mention because you think they're significantly better again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, would be Georgia. I mean, not having an elite coach at Ohio State could result in another national championship for Georgia in and of itself. Not having to play an Urban Meyer in a championship game with elite talent and playing Ryan Day instead probably ends up in Georgia getting another national championship at some point. Not that they needed the help. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Ryan Day, because you're absolutely right. That is an easy place to win compared to other places. And while there's a lot of advantages, the one disadvantage is those fans are passionate to a fault. And I know we have a strong Tennessee fan base on here. You are too. Okay. But there are about a half dozen schools that I think can be passionate to a fault. That goes to ripping kids on social media. It also goes to having expectations that are too high. And I'm not saying all of you right now that are Tennessee fans. I'm saying there's a high percentage. By high, I mean about 10%, where most schools have about 5%. I think there's about 6-8 schools in the country that have a 10% crazy fan factor. And Ohio State is one of those. Worked with a company in Ohio, and people that had never even stepped foot on Ohio State campus, Ohio State's campus, were just absolutely enamored with Ohio State. Things shut down. And so I think there's a lot of pressure there, a whole lot of pressure at Ohio State. And you do have Urban Meyer hanging out without a job and talking on TV. So there's even more pressure. The thing that I think is scary is if Ryan Day flames out, who do they go get? But again, that could be 2-3 years. How long do you think Ryan Day will be at Ohio State?
2 more years. I got 2. They'll try it with Bill O'Brien. It'll unravel for a little bit, and then things collapse the year after, and then he's fired. I don't think it matters who they get, because I don't think it's that hard to win at Ohio State. I think it's one where they could stumble into a guy and go win a national title. I don't think Jim Tressel was that great of a coach, honestly, but he won a national title.